Sitaram, once again we welcome you on behalf of Sanatan Vidvat Vidyalaya and Sankhya TV to our weekly program of SWA, where we share information on some of the concepts of Sanatan Dharma, all in an effort to help us understand the roles that each and every one of us have to play in life. We have been running the last few programs dealing with the samskars, but today we are going to give special attention to a very topical issue of Diwali and the declared date in this country, where the date is really incorrect. So we need to discuss that, and today's program will be dedicated towards the analysis of the calculation. So Diwali, the origin of Diwali. One of the major reasons for Diwali is the appearance of Mother Lakshmi from the churning of the ocean. Mind you, it is not the only reason that Diwali is celebrated. There are at least 5 additional reasons why Diwali is celebrated. And so the one that most people are familiar with is the coming out of the ocean of Mother Lakshmi, for the express purpose that she points the way to prosperity, that in our life we can use the charitra or the exploits of Mother Lakshmi to so do. It occurs on the Diwali is celebrated on the new moon day, which is known as Amavasya, in the month of Kartik. And in the English calendar, Kartik is approximately October and November. So this is very specific as far as when Diwali has to be celebrated. Most Utsavas, like Diwali, the Utsavas being the auspicious days, are celebrated according to the phase of the moon, which we call a Tithi. And to define a Tithi is a lunar day of a varying duration, which is solely dependent on the speed of the moon on the day concerned in traveling a distance of 12 degrees. Basically, the sun will move 1 degree on its axis over a 24-hour period. The moon, on the other hand, will travel 12 degrees at varying speeds, because being the fastest planet, its speed varies from time to time. So we have to look at the Tithi, at the phase of the moon, if we are going to attempt to calculate when is the auspicious time for any Utsava. So we reference the Hrishikesh Patra, and the Hrishikesh Patra, which is really the gold standard as far as Patras are concerned. And we come up with the page of in Kartik month. This is the Krishna Paksh, or the dark half leading to new moon. So the last day will be new moon. And that is, as we see here, it's represented as number 30. Coming before it is the 14th Tithi. Were it the bright half of the moon, this will be number 15. So the Amavasya, because they are the 30 phases of the moon, is called the 30th phase. When does it occur? Wednesday. What's the duration? We'll come to that momentarily. We see here, it is Wednesday the 7th of November. So we come to the duration. We will notice here, if we just quickly go back to the slide, that the duration of that phase of the moon is 37 Ghatika 0 Pal. Let's do the maths of it in this upcoming slide. Now, 37 Ghatika, the Hindu hour, is 2/5 of the hour that we know, the 60-minute hour. So the duration of the phase of the moon on new moon day is 37 Ghatika. When we do the maths of it, that will work out to, using this formula here, it will work out to 14 hours, 48 minutes. India's sunrise is 6:31. But we have to make an adjustment for Trinidad sunrise. Trinidad sunrise on that day is 5:59. So there is a 32-minute earlier difference. So therefore, the new moon phase in Trinidad will finish 32 minutes earlier than the phase in India. It brings us to 8:47 p.m. So new moon day finishes at 8:47 p.m. in this country. We move on, and we even use the reference of the Bhavani Shankar Patra.
Okay, so Bhavani Shankar.
So if we were to use the Bhavani Shankar Patra, which is very popular, we will see that again the new moon day, the 30th phase of the moon, it's on Wednesday, the 7th of November, and there is a difference in the amount of Ghatika and Pal, 36, 33. What does that difference, how does it pan out? We look at the calculations. Again, we go to the previous phase of the moon for clarity. So the previous phase of the moon from the 30th, the 14th phase, it lasted 38 Ghatika, 57 Pal. What is a Pal? A Pal is 2/5 of a minute. So this a Pal is a Hindu minute, the Ghatika is a Hindu hour. So when we do the math of it, 38 Ghatika, which again, just to remind viewers, which is the previous phase of the moon, the day before Diwali, it lasts 15 hours, 12 minutes from sunrise. This data of Ghatika and Pal is always taken from sunrise. That's our standard. And therefore, if India's sunrise is 6:31, we have to make and Trinidad sunrise is 5:59 on the 6th of November, Tuesday the 6th of November. Then the 14th phase of the moon finishes at 9:34 p.m. Then the 15th phase starts. Now, what one has to bear in mind is that Diwali is celebrated on the 15th phase of the moon that ushers in sunset. That's the time we light our diya. So we have to observe now the 14th phase of the moon and the 15th phase of the moon and see where the sunset catches. So obviously, the day before Diwali, Tuesday the 6th of November, it does not catch the sunset of the 15th phase. The 15th phase of the moon does start at on that night at 9:34 p.m., but it does not catch the sunset. However, on Wednesday, when the 15th phase of the moon terminates at 8:47 p.m., definitely the sunset is looked at on that day. So as far as the Diwali calculation is concerned, it is the sunset of the 15th phase of the moon, which is Wednesday the 7th of November, and as we say, the terminating time of that 15th phase of the moon. So we reference again the Hrishikesh Patra's page concerning Diwali. And though one might not be familiar with the names of the nakshatras, etc., the maths of it, it's just the concept we are interested that everyone understands here. And that is, this is the day we are celebrating Diwali. We work the duration of the time. So this time is always given from sunrise. So if we have the ending time of the phase of the moon on Diwali day, when does Diwali really begin? So in the normal scheme of things, whether we are dealing with a tithi, a phase of the moon, whether we are dealing with a constellation, a yog, a karan, as the case may be, where the previous one ends, the succeeding one obviously begins. So Diwali would have begun the day before, but the sunset is caught on Wednesday, the 7th of November, when it finishes according to India time 9:19, and we made the necessary adjustment here, as we see in the calculation. The adjustment being for sunrise. So the new moon will finish at 8:47 p.m. on Wednesday the 7th in Trinidad. So whether one uses the Hrishikesh Patra or the Bhavani Shankar Patra, it shouldn't factor whether the day of the solar day, whether it's Wednesday the 7th, that shouldn't factor at all, because it's just a 47-minute difference in the what is projected as the phase of the moon. But in both instances, the finishing time of the new moon, the Amavasya, is after sunset. One case 8:47, one case 9:31, but after sunset. And so there's no debate or ambiguity when the sunset catches, on which day it catches. It catches on Wednesday, the 7th of November. Now, having hopefully established that this is the tenets of the Sanat, of the Shastras we quote here, having said that, we look at what might have been some of the possible errors used in the calculations. Sometimes one of the factors could be that there is an approximately a 9.5-hour difference between Trinidad and India. But that's a solar difference. All Utsavas, like Diwali, they are lunar calculations. We cannot mix a solar difference with a lunar movement. In simple maths, they always tell you bring all your items into one unit. So to bring solar, not to change the solar difference and talk about a lunar calculation, it doesn't fit. It's two different concepts completely. One is the movement of the sun, one is the movement of the moon. Diwali and all Utsavas are calculated according to the movement of the moon. The sun has nothing to do with that. The sun rotates, as we have said in the beginning of the program, on its own axis as 1 degree. That is independent. It doesn't affect how the moon moves and how fast it moves. All that is the GTT'S do, they measure how long it takes the moon on the day concerned to travel 12 degrees. So the 9.5-hour difference does not apply there at all. Interestingly enough, if one were to look at areas east of us, west of us, north and south, and the declared date for the celebration of Diwali, one would see that they all conform to Wednesday, November 7th, 2018 as the day of Diwali. We are talking here about people who are in the same time zone and who are west of us: Guyana, Suriname, USA, states like Chicago, California, Canada, like in Vancouver. East of us, North India, Malaysia, Australia, England, South Africa. Now, we were specific here about North India. What about South India? South India celebrates Narak Chaturdashi. Now, we do a little bit of history here. Diwali, we all know of the 5 days of Diwali, which begins with Dhanteras, when God incarnated to re-establish medicine to the world and the benefits of medicine to the world. He came as Dhanvantari Bhagwan. That is on the 13th phase of the moon leading up to Diwali. The 14th phase of the moon, which is the second day of Diwali, is twofold in importance. One, Sri Hanuman came in one round of creation on that day. So there is celebration. That day is exalted as far as the worship of Bhagwan Hanuman is concerned. And also additionally, on that Chaturdashi, which is the 14th phase of the moon, Bhagwan in the form of Shri Krishna had destroyed Narakasura. And so there was great rejoicing, and it culminated in the celebration of Diwali. So those are the first and the second days of Diwali. The South India celebrates Narak Chaturdashi in the 5 days of Diwali. That's their big celebration. They acknowledge that Diwali itself is the new moon. There is no that's not a contentious issue. They accept that. But their day for celebration is Narak Chaturdashi. So that's why we have just made the little separation here, just for one's own enlightenment. Of course, the 3rd day of Diwali is the coming of Mother Lakshmi out of the ocean. The 4th day of Diwali is what we call Govardhan Puja, where that epic katha with Bhagwan Shri Krishna and Govardhan took place in the Lila, in the era of Bhagwan Krishna. And the 5th day of the 5 days of Diwali is Bhai Dooj, when brothers go looking for sisters to re-establish that bond. In the mix, we have not mentioned the return of Shri Ram, which is also regarded, and it is really so, one of the reasons for the celebration of Diwali. And that too, it's a celebration that Diwali heralds, but it didn't really happen, that return of Bhagwan Shri Ramchandraji didn't really happen very close to Diwali. But the impetus of his return, the joy that accompanied his return, his victorious return from the Lanka and the destruction of Ravan and his kind, back to Ayodhya, that just it built into a crescendo month after month leading up to Diwali. So that's as far as the time scheme is concerned, it was not mentioned here, but I know many people are familiar. Yes, that is one of the reasons for the celebration of Diwali, and that's where it fits as far as the time frame is concerned. So yet another reason for the Diwali celebration is King Prithu's encounter with Mother Earth, when she withheld her bounty for reasons that were justified. And then upon the intervention of King Prithu, she once more became bountiful, and then that celebration was also recognized as a reason for the great joy that accompanies Diwali. And then additionally, the Vaish in Sanatana Dharma, we have the 4 castes, the 4 stratas of society, where we have the Brahmins, the Kshatriya, the Vaishya, and the Shudra. And if each Varan, as we call them, because we veer from using the word caste, the Western world has changed that from a caste system to a class system. So let's stick to the word Varan. That each strata of society, if they perform their duties to the best of their ability, then we'll have a near perfect socio-economic progressive society. So the role of the Vaishya is to ensure that the land is well fed. There is copious supply of crops and so forth, that there's no scarcity which causes inconvenience, which causes the escalation of prices of goods and services. So that is the duty of the Vaishya, to ensure that the land is well fed, that commodities are available and they are available within the reach of each and everyone's pocket. So the Vaishya, in the history of time, in the history of Sanatana Dharma, when they harvest with all their efforts and so forth became very plentiful, they too celebrated, and that too was a reason that coincided with the occurrence of Diwali. So that too was a reason for the great celebration of Diwali. So the question begs, what if Diwali is celebrated on a wrong day? In this case, on Tuesday the 6th of November. Well, the best pronouncement comes from what our Shastras say, what our authoritative books say. Well, let's turn to Bhagavad Gita. And this is the pronouncement of Bhagwan when he came as Krishna. And in the 16th chapter, the second to last shlok is quoted here, of the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord, as Krishna told the world through the medium of his very good friend Arjun, he said, Yaha Shastra vidhim utsrajya vartate kam karataha na sasiddhim apnoti na sukham na param gatim. The Lord says, Yaha Shastra. Shastra, the Shastras are the Hindu law books. We are not guided by how we feel about a situation, how we interpret a situation. In fact, decisions like that, they come when the senses are not stabilized. And Bhagwan says, when we have to be guided, when we have to make decisions, important decisions, let the research, the condensed research of the Shastras be the guiding factor, and not how we feel about a situation. Because many times People, we have wants and we have needs, and we fail to recognize the difference. And the Shastras help us and point us in the direction. So the Lord says that the Shastras should be regarded. The laws of the Shastras should be implemented to the best of our ability. If we decide to cast away the injunctions of the Shastras, vartate kam karataha, and do as we please, Bhagwan Krishna says, nasa siddhim, that we all ought to aspire to ideals. Swami Vivekananda put it very well. He said, the problem with mankind is mankind wants to take the ideal and bring it down to the level of the real, when really and truly we should take the real and carry it to the level of the ideal. So Bhagwan says we have to aspire to the ideals. But if we flout the injunctions of the Shastras, then we will not reach to the ideals that we aspire towards, or we should aspire towards. Further to that, na sukham, that everyone needs a moment of pleasure in life, or moments of pleasure. We need to be a student who works assiduously at his or her studies, want to savor the moment of success when results come. The employee who works diligently in his or her work environment looks forward to have the pleasure of commendation, of possibly a raise in pay, or possibly a good year-end report. So these are labors and labors of love, but we are working towards a goal. Bhagwan says, by veering away, by doing as we wish and we please, and not adhering to the guidance of the holy books, those moments of pleasure, which sometimes comes like, life water, we will be robbed of it, na paramgatim, and in the hereafter too. We put the hereafter under threat by not observing these laws. If we have to see a medical professional, a consultant, they are not available 24/7. So there might be days that we need to visit them, hours that we need to visit them. And if the visiting time is noon to 5 p.m. on a Thursday, we can't expect to go on Friday between noon and 5. We can't expect to go on Monday between noon and 5. Because to get the attention, we have to be there on time. So too, on the phases of the moon, on the where these utsavas are calculated, they are dependent, because succeeding phases of the moon and preceding phases of the moon, there are other, as the reference says, other consultants on duty. If we go to the 14th phase of the moon, if Divali is celebrated on Tuesday, the 6th of November, when we are supposed to be seeing Lakshmi Mata or welcoming her into our home, in truth and in fact, it will be Shiv Baba. We'll be according that welcome to. And it's a frivolous argument. It's a journey in semantics to say, well, God is God. Because it's one God manifest in various forms to exemplify what he represents. The Lakshmi facet of Bhagwan, which is prosperity, unnati, which is growth, is not represented by Bhagwan Shiva. Bhagwan Shiva may have inputs in that, but that is really the portfolio, the terrain of Lakshmi Mata. The forte of Bhagwan Shiva on the 14th phase of the moon, like Tuesday, the 6th of November, he is the great dissolver. And that too we need in life, to dissolve, help us to dissolve our vices, etc. But Diwali is for the celebration of Lakshmi Mata to get prosperity into life, that prosperity is not measured by wealth merely. Prosperity is when we move from one station in life to a higher station in life by fair means. And that is the blessings of Mother Lakshmi that we need. So when the Shastras declare certain times for events, for utsavas, they are specific for these and other reasons, that the deities different deities prevail at different times. We couldn't be doing, we just spoke about Dhanteras, Dhanvantari Bhagwan. We couldn't be doing Dhanteras Puja the day before Diwali, as is sometimes the custom. Dhanteras is 2 lunar days before Diwali. Diwali is the 15th phase, Dhanteras is the 13th phase. So on the 13th phase of the moon, and one's Pandit can be one's guide when that has to be celebrated. That is the day families will huddle together, and at sunset time, perform little puja by, if we don't have a murti of Dhanvantari Bhagwan, we go to where there's a tulsi tree because she represents medicine, and we perform little puja, light a diya, let each person from the family light a diya, and there we seek out the blessings of Dhanvantari Bhagwan so that we may have the sustenance of good health for the upcoming year. That couldn't be done on Diwali date, that could be done on Tuesday the 6th. So the Shastras guide us how these calculations are made, and there's no ambiguity, very clear on how the calculations are made, and these are the reasons Bhagwan Krishna says we have to adhere, because he leaves these Shastras as a recipe book, so that we may have the end product may be something that we can savor. So too in life, we need to make this dish something that we can savor, and it can only be done when we abide by the laws of the Shastras. So once again, we thank you for joining us on Swadharma. By God's grace, we meet and greet next week, and we hope that our little input here would have shed some light along the way, that hopefully by God's grace we get the formal declaration. The date is ready for Diwali, being Wednesday, 7th November 2018. Sitaram.